What up? What's cracking, you guys? This, I'll tell you what this. Oh, first of all, how's it going? I'm your host, Keith from Analytics, knowledge, information, and hopefully at the least a bit of entertainment. What this isn't going to be is a video about the old tulpas. I just stumbled on them. I was watching some old episodes of Supernatural, which I do from time to time, and came across some cool. You know how Hollywood will slip in occult stuff every once in a while. They slipped in some gemstones, and I did some research, stumbled upon something else, and was like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" Um, Ooh, also, I know that it's um, Kobe passed away today, so paying respects where respects are due to the homie and to his daughter, who passed away also in the crash. Um, well, with that being said, um, this. Hold on, give me a sec. I'd have been a little too bright on the old. That's better. Topals, if you guys don't know what they are these it's like imagine imagine a imaginary friend, and then the imaginary friend takes on its own conscious sentient thought processes. It has its own emotions, its own thoughts. It acts completely separate from your consciousness. That's what a tulpa is. What up, Salabi? They're my bad. I'm getting some I spilled my essential oils when I was sitting down earlier. I sat down too hard on the desk and I knocked them over. That's it. The tulpas don't want you guys to know about them. All right, we'll get into the tulpas in just a second. It's basically a brainstorming sort of stream of consciousness, because I'm seriously considering doing one of these things. Here's the scary part with tulpas. Apparently you can create this entity in your mind, but I don't understand the theory behind them. Can they take over your body? Some people use these things to sort of take possession of themselves. You have your host, who's the original person, and then you have the tulpa, which is the thought form that gets created inside the person's head. That thought form takes on its own personality, its own character, and communicates with the host. Now, with practice, the host can step aside and let the tulpa take over, control the body, whereas instead of the host being in the body and the tulpa in the mind, the host is now in the mind and the tulpa is in the body. On some accounts, people are saying they don't remember what's happening. They're not experiencing the physical world at all. They're experiencing purely the mental world. They've switched spots, switched places with their tulpas. Now, you can have 3, 4, 5, in theory, different tulpas coexisting inside your mind, taking turns at the wheel, or never taking turns at the wheel, just existing as like a third, fourth, fifth party to communicate with, or to share thoughts with, or to interact with. And it sounds kind of But to me, it sounded kind of dark. This is kind of why I wanted to make the video. I wanted to throw this out there and see if anyone else, or calling all tulpa enthusiasts, um, how the hell are people just? Because whenever I look up these tulpas, they're a good thing. Like everyone raves about them. So let me read you like a pretty standard definition of a tulpa, and it comes from Tibetan Buddhism. A concept in mysticism and the paranormal of a being or object which is created through spiritual or mental powers. It was adapted by 20th century theosophists from Tibet. Modern practitioners use the term to refer to a type of willed imaginary friend which practitioners consider to be sentient and relatively autonomous. The Loch Ness is a tulpa? Interesting. Between the Bell, how's it going? Craig, what's cracking? As a tulpa and alter ego. Bianca, how's it going? So I mean, no, it's not an alter ego. A tulpa is so your alter ego could be well. Here's the thing. Like I said, I'm not a tulpa expert yet. I'll make an official tulpa video soon, but um, it's almost like it's completely separate from you in theory, or the way it's described is it's completely separate from you. So like your alter ego is tonight I'm going out and I'm going to pretend to be like my alter ego when I go out drinking. Like some of my friends, especially women for whatever reason, women tend to have more um, alter egos at will than my guy friends have had in the past. I'm like, oh, tonight Betty's coming out. My alter ego Betty when I drink. But it's you're playing the role of someone else in an alter ego, so to speak. Whereas the tulpa is you're actually what you do is you meditate on a thought form, and you use your imagination to what it looks like. Is it have a body, no body? Is it have a gender, man, woman, combination of the two? Is it a cat? Is it a floating orb? It can be whatever you want it to be. And then you give it a backstory, you give it a history. You basically, through will, instill all the characteristics onto this thing. And I'm not sure, this is where it gets kind of weird for me. Um, Maybe I could. Hold up. Practice talking to it. So this is how you make it come. Once you have a clear idea of what you think it should look like and how it should act, you can practice talking to it. Give it a name or open your mind and hear it tell you its own name. The more you open your mind with this and be creative, the more you'll enjoy the experience. Um, and the idea is eventually this thing isn't an alter ego because it's not taking over your body again. It just it exists in your mind. Um, at least it can take over your body after a while, but at first it doesn't. But yeah, it doesn't. So no, it's not an alter ego. After practice, some people it takes a couple days, a couple months, a couple weeks. I don't know. Some people apparently go years. There's a whole community of people that do this shit, you guys. It's not like, and the people who talk about it are. I'm getting the impression that the people who dabble in this kind of stuff are super heady people. Like the way they talk and the way they act and the way they express themselves, you can tell they're super heady, airy. Fucking probably wouldn't be surprised if 90% of people in this realm were Aquarii dominant. Anywho, eventually what happens with someone who has a well-developed tulpa is they'll be like, hey, tulpa, I'm having this issue, and the tulpa not the person, not the host, the tulpa will say, "What up? Talk to me." And you talk to it, and you're not having a conversation pretending to be something else. It's not like you're giving yourself advice. Your tulpa, who acts of its own accord, who has its own volition, its own emotions, its own perception of reality, separate from you, has a conversation with you. You basically grow a thought child in your mind. Um, and I thought, holy hopscotch, Batman. And then the next step after that is some people switch places. Like the host will switch places with the what the hell, the tulpa, and the tulpa will act in the physical world, experiencing the physical world. Now, there's the interesting part is that I got impressions of that movie Her. Remember that movie Her, where the dude falls in love with the computer. Um, it's living in your mind, and one person described it. I found this super fascinating. One person described it as the way he set up the tulpa was it didn't actually exist in his mind. He created his tulpa to live in a separate space outside of his mind in another dimension, but was able to link up to his consciousness and exist in his mind. Almost like Katana from Halo. I don't know if you guys ever played Halo, but it was the little hologram inside Master Chief's helmet who would give him directions and have... There's always a weird sexual thing going on between the two, but of course it's video games, so they do that a lot. Anywho, yeah. Oh, Between the Veil, that's good to know. So Between the Veil is apparently well versed in tulpas. I just came across it. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. Appreciate the help. Mike's World asked, "Is tulpa like a servitor?" That's a good question. From my humble beginnings on tulpas, it doesn't seem... I guess you could make it your servant, though. So let me give you perspective on how people view tulpas. In the forum, I was reading Reddit forums on tulpas and people's experiences, what they did, how they did it, etc. One person had asked, "How do I get rid of my tulpa?" And an overwhelmingly large amount of people were asking, "Why would you do that? Don't kill it. Be gentle. How could you do that?" Like, everyone was really, strangely, taken aback that he would do this. And I got the impression that these things are... got the impression that these things are real enough in a sense to where you would feel guilt getting rid of it, because it's an actual living being that you have created. Like, you wouldn't just kill your dog because it was becoming annoying, right? You would give it to a shelter, or you would give it to a friend, or you would get your shit together and take care of the dog. But you certainly wouldn't just kill it or leave it on the side of the street or something like that. And that's what people were seeing with the tulpas. It was like, 2 or 3 people were saying, "You're going to regret it, don't do it." One person said, you could let it roam free in your psyche to explore your mind, and then you can invite it back in whenever you're ready for it again, because, quote unquote, you will want it back eventually. Which is kind of strange to think about that people. I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's all in your head. I'm not saying that it's real. I'm not saying that it's not real. But there are a shit ton of people claiming that it is, at least to them, completely real. I'm sure a psychiatrist would say you're a fucking crazy person and put you on medication. But it's not. Well, here was another interesting thing. It said that people can create tulpas on accident. Because the difference between an imaginary friend and a tulpa is your imaginary friend, you don't give it space to be its own being. That's not part of your imagination. Your imagination for having an imaginary friend, say as a child, isn't okay. You have your SpongeBob is your imaginary character, say. Well, to make SpongeBob the imaginary friend a tulpa, you would have to say, okay, tulpa is his own person, has his own thoughts, is his own entity, and you sort of meditate on that thought and get creative with however you want to see it. For days, weeks, you sit down every day, 15, 20 minutes every day. You're making this person more real. And that's how I came across it, was from this Supernatural episode where it was a combination of the tulpa and a Buddhist sigil for concentrating will and attention. So you had tens of thousands of people online focusing on this Buddhist sigil directed towards a tulpa, and all that energy gave it life. It manifested as a real entity. Anywho, the accounts that I looked up, I know some of the favorite, pretty much all of your favorite novelists that create fictional characters have stories of their characters take on a life of their own. You hear that all the time in the art. So the character took on a life of its own. What's his name? The Rosemary guy. Fucking Romeo and Juliet. Why am I drawing a blank right now? Who wrote Romeo and Juliet? Why am I drawing a complete blank? The hell is that guy's name? Someone's gonna help me out. Shakespeare. Oh my god, Shakespeare. Jesus Christ. Shakespeare, Tolkien, Harry Potter, Homegirl, George Orwell, even his characters. The more energy they invested in these characters, giving them their the most important part was giving them their own stories, giving them their own backstories, giving them their own thoughts, and they would what they say is, I would go into my character and I would say, what does this character think? What does this character feel? How would this character react in this given situation? What the writers aren't saying is, how do I feel about this? How would I react in this situation? No, they've created a fictional character, and the more they develop that character, the more it comes to life and sort of becomes its own thing. That's the same concept as a tulpa. So people are doing this constantly without realizing it. The only difference between someone who is like balls deep in this stuff is they spend all their energy and time into this one character, into giving it its own free will, essentially, to exist in their mind for companionship, for love, romance, for someone to talk to help with I mean, it's not uncommon. If you think about it, back in the days of Greece and even further, it was actually a good thing when people would talk to things in their mind, talk to God, talk to spirits, talk to angels. That's where the word muse came from. Is it muse? No, not muse. Genius. The genius back in the day, I believe it was in ancient Greece, was a demon that would talk to you and give you ideas and tell you. I think someone fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what a genius was. It was this creature that would whisper things into artists' ears as a muse and inspire them to create new things. So it's definitely not uncommon for people to experience this sort of episode. Definitely uncommon nowadays to experience this sort of thing. What intrigued me though was, if imagination is the possibility, what if you could sort of imagine a tulpa that had a certain set of characteristics, skills, personality traits, characteristics, but imagined it without being autonomous, imagined it without being its own conscious entity, just a suit of armor, if you will. And then instead of switching places with this thing, with the host and the tulpa, you just switch place of the garments that you were wearing. Switch the personality traits, in other words. I don't know, that might be getting a little too meta about it, but still. Let me see. A baba doo 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 doo. I'm the king of the swingazoo. I'm gonna peep some of you guys' comments right now. The guy's name is Bale. Huh? That's funny. Hop shut soot. How's it going? Nice to see you. And good luck with grad school. Another shout out to Kobe is undue. I gave him a shout out at the beginning of the video. Thank you for the reminder. John Milks, nice to see you. Goddess of love. What we can do with the mic is put it closer because I'm not using a mic. I'm using my camera. I did it, you guys. I bought a new laptop, and it costed me a fortune. But Daddy needs to keep the content coming, and my computer failed me, which is why I'm not using a microphone because I can't use it anymore. So bear with me. Bear with me. But tulpas run the extreme risk of developing extreme will. Yeah, that is my exactly. Huh? Enlightened hobo. We're just hanging out, Mango. So, maybe someone else can fill us in on this. Serena Irons, how's it going, bro? I don't know, that the whole... How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about tulpas? Would you guys create a tulpa? Knowing that you're creating another sentient consciousness? I kind of like the idea of... I don't know. Mike's World, you energize it as you would energize anything. Thought. The more thought you put into something, the more energy you give it. The more thought you put into the tulpa, the more real the tulpa becomes. Oops. I think we probably do, not knowing. Yeah, I mean, Elgia, am I pronouncing that right? Elgia? Thomas, we are our own tulpas by existing. Um, yeah, that brought up a good thought because I was thinking, well, tulpas don't really exist. And I was like, well, we also don't really exist, right? Because our ego is an illusion of separation from God. Albeit a very persistent illusion, lasts the span of a lifetime or a few lifetimes, but it's still the illusion of existence. We're still not real with a capital R. So to say a tulpa doesn't really exist is to say we don't really exist, but we do kind of exist. So maybe tulpas do kind of exist also. Oregano. We are tulpas of the all. Holy shit. Between the veil. Well said. Well said. Damn. We are tulpas of the all. I think that's it. I think you nailed it on the head with that one. Well done. I don't know. My thing is like if you say you create this tulpa, I like my solitude. What if it just keeps bugging the hell out of you and keeps wanting to talk about shit? It doesn't sleep, right? It's a disembodied entity at this point. It's not like it needs to nap, right? So it could just be bugging you at all hours of the night. I'm not trying to have any part of that. As the principle goes, as above, so below. Well fucking said, brother. Well said. Uppity, thanks for stopping by. How's it going, girl? Crazy though, huh? I can imagine it's a crazy day in Cali. A bit, yeah. People are fucking crooked over here today with everything that's been going on. Definitely crooked over here. Tired. It's been a long weekend. I think I didn't want this video to go too long just because. Oh, I've been going fucking ham since like 2 o'clock trying to get my Etsy shop fucking caught up, and it's still not even caught up. Yeah, but I feel like I'm in outer space like this. You guys enjoying yourselves? You guys having a good Sunday night? Hopefully nice and chill. It's been a sad Sunday. We had some celebrity deaths today that hit close to home for a lot of us, I'm sure. Serena Irons. We pretty much covered it all. Tulpas, creating thought forms that turn into their own thinking and feeling entities that share your brain space, and whether or not you should do it and how to do it. Um, Not very clear rules on how to get rid of it once you've already created it, which kind of scares me. I wouldn't mind having a tulpa that I met only in my dreams, though. Maybe that can be the happy medium. Maybe we could figure out how to go lucid in the dream world and create a tulpa there that you could explore with on the other side, like an adventure, like a partner in crime that you would meet up with on the other side every night, where you would get into cool shenanigans. That sounds fucking awesome. And then you could, because it's its own thinking entity, you could you could teach it what you know, say, about lucid dreaming, and then I would imagine it operated much smoother in the dream world, since it's an etheric being and it could actually help you in the dream world, help you build lucid dream worlds, help you sustain lucidity better, help you fly better in your dreams, help you figure things out in your dreams better. It could be like your own Siri, but on the other side. That was not a robot, that was actually conscious thinking entity. How fucking dope would that be? That's what I should do. Elisa? Elisa Pope? Am I pronouncing your name right? Eliza. 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 Glad you finally made it. Eliza, where you from? Where you been? Where you been hiding this whole time? You've been holding it down here. Maybe if you could do that, the tulpa could lucid dream into the physical plane. I, well, if it's sharing your mind space, I guess it could. How would that work, though? You're going into your dream space and it's there, but I don't know. I don't think the tulpa could come into the dream space, because the way humanity is, the way you and I are able to operate on the physical plane is through a physical vessel. So our bodies are our physical vessels in which our spirits can have the experience of a physical world. The tulpa would have to have a physical vessel. I mean, it has your physical vessel, so it could be experiencing the world through your eyes. But as far as having its own vehicle, according to the lore of tulpas, a tulpa cannot commandeer the body of the host. It's actually the host that makes that decision, and it's actually the host that has to do all the work, all the practice, all the training to get the host consciousness to the other side, and the tulpa to the host's body. But again, well, no, that's basically it. Salavi Studio, I don't know. I was just speculating. I would imagine it would be perfectly possible to make a tulpa in the lucid dream realm, if not easier to do, because as you guys know, it's a little easier to do things in the dream realm, because the dream realm isn't necessarily determined by the physics of our reality, though the dream realm follows the physics of our reality to some degree, based on how strongly you believe in the physics of this reality and your imagination to overcome those obstacles. I personally would love to make a tulpa in the lucid dream realm. That would be awesome. That would be a lot of fun. Elisa, there we go. Elisa sounds pretty dope too, though. It reminds me of the girl from the Thornberries. If you guys might not know what the Thornberries are. I've been here watching. Nice. Well, welcome. Welcome from California out there to Colorado, Elisa. Why does it scare me? If it doesn't scare you, there's something wrong with you, because it scares me too. Don't worry, we're all scared in here together. I don't know. You guys could do some of your own. I mean, let's check it out for a second. Let's look at what some people have to say. What's it like having a tulpa? A tulpa is an entity created in the mind, acting independently of and parallel to your own consciousness. They are able to think and have their own free will, emotions, and memories. In short, a tulpa is like a sentient person living in your head, separate from you. On Reddit, describe what it's like to live with tulpa. So this person says, well, I always have someone to chat with since Ishtar is with me all day, so his tulpa is named Ishtar. It doesn't get in the way of anything either. If need be, she can hang back while I do business, but she's always there. I find it pretty pleasant knowing someone is there. It's not intrusive either, since we share a head, unlike if a physical person were up beside you 24/7. Of course, not every tulpa does this. Bastet will sleep in the morning and wake up in the afternoon to hang out. So like I said, I find it pretty nice. Tulpamancing, that's the name for necromancy, but tulpamancy. This is my question. So the person asks, however, being overly curious individual that I am, I do have another question. If you want to be left alone, would it be thought of as rude if you told them to leave me be? Also, do they help you remember things you may have forgotten? um, this person answers, absolutely not. If he needed privacy, I would be more than happy to give him some space where people and me understand. Like any other person, I'm definitely not. We've noticed our host has. Wait, what? Is this? Okay, so this is actually the tulpa answering. The tulpa says, absolutely not. I would be more than happy to give him space where people we understand. And the other question, like any other person, I'm definitely not perfect. We noticed our host has kind of a crap memory, and so do we to an extent. I'd give you example of when he reminded him of something, but all three of us have probably forgotten. Huh. Edit. Oh, one more thing. In my experience, your tulpa understands you oftentimes more than you do yourself. So being rude because you get busy or simply can't focus is very understandable to them. Shit's fucking crazy. What? This guy's got one called a root beer. There was actually a scientific study done on people who created tulpas, like a science, like I should find the article to send you guys. But it was showing promising results for dealing with anxiety and depression and things like that, because people had someone that was non-judgmental, that understood them, because it was in their own mind, talking to them. Of course, he would need more studies done, but I thought it was interesting that people were able to find companionship from these tulpas and actually limit the amount of depression. There's tons of people on YouTube, by the way, if you want to look further, talking about their experiences. And the ones I saw, like I said, were extremely analytical. There was no woo-ness or nothing. This one of the guys I listened to was saying, he was like, I wasn't a believer, I thought it was crazy, whatever, I thought I'd give it a shot. He talked about all the problems he'd been dealing with and how he created this thing, and how the depression subsided and the suicidal thoughts subsided, and he went from someone like a perfectly sane, rational person who didn't believe in any of this, to someone who didn't want to commit suicide because there was another life form living inside of his head that he felt he had to take care of. So shit's getting real out here, you guys. Are you okay? You look tired. Solomon Judge. I'm tired as fuck. Yeah, I'm actually exhausted. It's been a long couple days. I was gonna go to sleep, and I was like, I should make a YouTube video, and I was like, I don't want to force it. And then I came across tulpas, and I was like, oh, that's got to be something I would like to talk about. So, but yeah, I'm actually exhausted. You can probably see it in my eyeballs. But I'll be going to sleep. Tulpas are an extension of oneself, not just some jerk flying by. What about angels and demons? They're very real entities. Angels and demons are real entities, but they're not created by your mind, right? That's what the difference between a tulpa and, say, an angel or a demon is. An angel or a demon exists, say, in a different dimension, on a different plane, and they're created from whatever they're created from. A tulpa is created by you. You sit down, you say, there is I'm just spitballing here, you sit down and you write down saying, there is an entity by the name of Schmurtle. And this Schmurtle is a man, and he's this age, and he has this color hair. He enjoys these things. And then you think about that. You put more thought, more energy, more willpower, more consciousness, more vitality, more life, more awareness into this thought form. And on top of that, you say it is its own being. It has its own consciousness. It has its own everything. And boom. A few weeks down the line, a few months down the line, this thing that used to be an extension of you is now completely its own conscious entity with its own emotions, its own experiences. And the longer it's around, the more memories it gains. It remembers what it thought about yesterday. It remembers what it thought about last week. It thinks about what it wants to experience in the future. It's its own entity, right? It's no longer you. It's like, I kind of see it like a plant cutting. So you can have so you have a tree, and you cut off a branch of the tree, stick the branch in some water, and new roots pop out of the tree branch, and that cutting will turn into a brand new tree and will make seeds and create brand new trees of its own with all new genetic material. That's how I see a tulpa. You start with the original tree, you cut a piece of it off, and the piece grows into its own thing, capable of producing other things, like thoughts, for example. That's what a tulpa is, not a demon, right? Or an angel, or a jinn, or whatever other various etheric wraiths and shit that are floating around out there. What's up, Sound Elixir? And thanks, Elisa. I learned a lot from you guys too, surprisingly. Between the Veil has a much more concise, difference. We'll read it. Angels and demons are what is known as celestial beings. Tulpas are thought forms created through focused meditation and belief. Actually, that's the thing. It doesn't take belief. Or, well, we're talking about fucking characters inside one's head. Who's to give the rules? But some of the things I came across, it doesn't actually take faith or belief in the tulpa for it to manifest. It's actually not one of the requirements. One of the requirements is simply the meditation and the thought that goes into them. Kind of like if you have a magnifying glass and you put it over some dry plant material, it doesn't matter whether you believe the plant material is going to burn from the magnifying glass. If you put the magnifying glass over the plant material long enough, the concentrated sunbeam is going to catch the plants on fire, and that's sort of how the tulpa works. It doesn't. Faith and belief aren't necessary, but the only thing that's necessary is the focused concentration and the focused will onto the thought form. In whatever creative, imaginative way you seem fit. Yeah. Nope, not calling on your ancestors, Sound Elixir. Oh, you just came in, huh? No, it's not at all like calling on your ancestors. Your ancestors are entities outside of yourself who you can communicate with. Tulpa is not an ancestor. It is not a spirit guide. It is not a spirit animal. It is not an ascended master. It is not a ghost. It is not an angel or a demon. It's not a fucking reptilian. It's not a gray. It's not Jesus. It's not the devil. It is you. It's almost like when you like golems. Have you ever heard of golems? There's like clay golems and earth golems and water golems. The idea is you take clay and form it into a human, and then you animate the clay with life force, and the golem becomes conscious and aware because of the life force that you gave it, and it went from this inanimate thing to this animate thing. The tulpa works the same way, but in the mind. You take a thought form with your imagination, like the golem, right? You give it the features that you want, or lack of features. It could be a fucking floating orb, whatever your imagination wants. And then you instill it with life force via meditation, willpower, concentration on this thing, and then you give it its own sentience. You give it the sentience, so it goes from not existing to existing via your thoughts, which again is not an ancestor, is not anything else like that. No, you're fine, Sound Elixir. The more I talk about it, the more I understand it, which is partly why I do lives on everything, is because the more questions you ask me, the more I have to define what I'm thinking, which means I have to like practice assimilating information in my mind. So all the questions and comments, please keep them coming. True, but the more energy you feed it, the stronger it becomes. Yes, the more energy you feed the tulpa, the stronger it becomes. And belief, like intention, is a form of focusing that energy. Yes, belief is a form of focusing energy. I just wanted to... The reason why I said belief is not a requirement is because someone like me who is skeptical could have the thought, oh, I don't believe that this is going to work, therefore it's not going to work. Well, that's false, because it doesn't matter whether I believe it works or not. What matters is, are you concentrating the energy? So, we'll meet halfway. Vale, how about this? You don't need a belief in it. You don't need belief for it to work, but using your belief will certainly increase the potency. How about that? I came across this concept like 3 years ago, but didn't get it. Now it seems brilliant. That's funny, Hildegard, because I came across this watching an episode of Supernatural earlier today, which is my favorite TV show, which is where I got my YouTube channel name from. And I've seen that. We've watched the show like 4 times over. It's just like, I don't know, it's almost nostalgically comforting at this point. And the tulpa came up. Now, for whatever reason, it never came up to me before. And today I was like, oh, I'm going to check that out. And here we are. But yeah, it seems brilliant, but it also seems kind of like, I don't know if I want some entity living in my brain, living in my mind. That, does it go away? Is it always there? Does it get annoying? Like, what are its intentions? I guess its intentions are whatever I instilled into it in the beginning. I don't know, it's a strange concept. Not your baby, Elizabeth John. Not yours. Yeah, I would imagine Hildegard that it would be maddening. Can I send my tulpa out to do my will? I don't understand what you mean by that. Your tulpa exists in your mind and can't actually exist in the physical world. So, like, to do harm to others? No, it can't do that. To influence the physical world, your tulpa can't influence your... I don't fucking know. Maybe. Like, maybe you can... Maybe if you are able to access your tulpa in the dream world, you can somehow have your tulpa report back. Say, hey, tulpa, right? Because it's not you. The tulpa is not you. Don't get it twisted and think that you are your tulpa. You're not. Once it's created, it's its own thing, like a child. Like your child comes from your sperm and egg, but when it's birth, it's not yours. It is its own sentient thing. That's what the tulpa is. So you could say you communicate with your tulpa, you're talking to it, and you go, hey, tulpa, can you plug yourself into the dream world because you're like a dream entity? And the tulpa could be like, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. And the next day it goes, hey, good news, I have access to all the dream worlds. And then you can send the tulpa out to influence other people's dreams, and then maybe that way you can send your tulpa to do your bidding. Again, I'm spitballing here. I would imagine that your imagination is the limit to things of this nature. If you can figure out a way for your mind to work it out, then you can sort of figure out a way for your tulpa to figure it out. Ooh, I should check Sylvia Brown. We'll check that out. Sylvia Brown. Oh, this girl. Montel, Larry King. Oh, they hammered her or what? Oh, she just died. Her middle name was Celeste. She was born Sylvia Celeste Shoemaker. Of course, your middle name is Celeste. How funny is that? Oh yeah, Sound Elixir. It's mental. It's mental. Man, she said some interesting things. I might have made a tulpa because I saw orbs in a few of my videos. No, that's not a tulpa. You wouldn't see a tulpa. A tulpa wouldn't exist as an orb in pictures, for example. That's not a tulpa. Um, tulpa is mind. Pure consciousness existing within sharing your mind, essentially, to a degree. But like I said, one person had a tulpa that said it didn't share his mind, that the tulpa actually existed on its own plane, linked to his mind, so it could come and go as it pleased and have conversations with him and then take off for a few days, sort of thing. That's what golems are for. There you go, Hild. Exactly, that's what golems are for. That's right. Remember to feed your tulpa. Yes. Sketchy, there's only room in my head for me. Right? But yeah.